Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Today we're just going to be testing and trying out a bunch of new makeup that I have accumulated over the past couple of weeks. I have lots to try out today, so let me zoom you in. I'll pin the hair back and we can get to trying these on. So I have already prepped my skin with the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream. Now the foundation we are going to be using today is the new Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation. This is the newly reformulated matte foundation from Charlotte. I picked up the shade 1 Cool, and I was going to do a full wear test of this, but I picked up the shade that I had in her old formula, and also I did the shade matcher on her app, and it said 1 Cool. So I was like, perfect, that is the shade I thought I was anyway. This is actually a bit too light, so I'll show you a quick swatch. These are both in the shade 1 Cool, but the one on the top here is the new shade and the one on the bottom is the former 1 Cool. Now I know she added in some new shades, but the old shade had a little bit more color to it. So I didn't look nearly as ghostly, but I am going to try to put this on today anyway, and I've just mixed in the littlest bit of my NARS Light Reflecting Foundation in the shade Mont Blanc, just to give it a little bit of color. But regardless of the shade, I have been sort of testing the foundation formula on its own so I can kind of give you my thoughts, because if you are new here, I do have a dry skin type. I do love a good natural finish to a matte foundation, but I can't stand anything that feels too heavy or dry on my skin. If something is going to cling to dry patches, it's going to find them on me. But I'm just picking up a little bit on my brush, and I probably could have mixed a little bit more of my NARS in. I mean, adding a tiny little bit of that into this did help it, but I still look pretty ghostly. I guess it matches my neck okay, but this shade is definitely too light. The NARS helped, but could have been better. I also didn't really want to disturb the finish of this foundation too much though, because what I can tell you is, aside from the shade issue, I absolutely hated the original Airbrush Flawless Foundation. I love the coverage, and I still love the coverage. The original foundation I absolutely hated. It was too heavy, it was way too dry, it was kind of cakey, it did absolutely nothing for my super dry skin. My skin just hated that one. This formula though, my skin likes. I would consider purchasing another shade of this because I do quite like it. Now it is very matte, but I don't mind that. It does kind of dry down without me needing to powder it, which is always a bonus. I don't have a new concealer, so I'm just going in with the Makeup Forever HD Skin. Now, this foundation does blend out really, really quickly. It is very matte, and it does dry down super fast. It doesn't feel initially super matte just yet, but it does dry down really quickly, and it is a bit of a thicker formula, so I do feel like you kind of need to work a little bit quicker to get it blended out. And I forgot to mention, I don't have anything new for brows, so those are actually already done, but I have noticed that this foundation does wear all day long. It does stay intact and it does stay put all day. It does give a very flawless coverage. It does look beautiful, and I know if I had the right shade, I would like it so much more. I mean, it just, I look very, very ghostly. I kind of debated on whether I wanted to even film this video, but I know enough of you wanted to see this foundation that I thought, let's just go ahead and we'll just fix everything with some bronzer. So just going in with some powder on the under eyes, I am going in with the new YSL All Hours Hyper Blur Translucent Powder. Now this isn't super new. This came out back in the spring, but it is new to Canada, so I definitely wanted to try it out. I have been really, really loving everything from YSL over the last couple of years, so I just wanted to give it a go. And this is easily one of the most blurring powders I have ever tried. This one, I would say, if you have oily skin, you're gonna love this one. This will take down any shine, this will lock you in, this will blur. But for me, I don't find it clings to dry patches, but it is, I would say, a pretty intense powder. It's really, really going to lock you in. So if you do live in a humid climate, or you have large pores, you have oily skin, you're really going to like this. And I'm just taking what's left to set my eyelids, so those are ready to go when we get to the eyeshadow. So I've really been loving this YSL loose powder. It is very expensive. I am testing it against the L'Oreal Infallible Blurrfection, so I will of course keep you updated on that. Before I can go into eyes, I do need to finish complexion because I can't keep looking this ghostly. So we're gonna go into the Haus Labs Precision Sculpt Shaping Balm. I have the shade Profile, so this is the lightest one, and this is what that looks like. It is very creamy, but it is matte, so it's going to make an amazing contour. I'm just taking the product off the stick with my brush before going in on the face. The first time I used this, I did go in directly on the skin, and while I think it's a really nice product, it is easy to blend, easy to work with. I do have some that blend a little bit easier. I would say the ABH contour stick does blend a bit easier than this. So this does work really well and it does blend quite easily, but I would say it's a little bit stiffer than the ABH contour stick. And I think for that reason, it ends up being a little bit more challenging to blend than that one. It's not hard to blend by any means, but I just think the ABH is easier. But this does give a really nice sculpt to the cheeks. It definitely adds some structure and it does wear all day long. I really do feel like it locks in. It's kind of self-setting. It is a really nice product. So I do think this is a really nice product. It definitely does set down and lock in. It is very matte. I don't feel like I need to set it because it does dry down beautifully. And I do think this is going to be an incredibly beautiful long wearing contour stick. But I do prefer something like the ABH contour stick or even the Dior contour stick just because I feel like that's a little bit easier and quicker to blend. Now I don't have a new bronzer, so I am just going into my Hourglass Dior palette. I have been absolutely loving this one. I can say with 100% certainty the bronzer in here is easily my favorite bronzer that I've ever had from Hourglass, and this is Diffused Bronze Light. I could have sworn that a bunch of people told me this was the best bronzer they have for fair skin, but then somebody else told me Nude Bronze Light is better, so then I thought, okay, well, maybe I want to try that too. However, I have been absolutely loving this. I think this is a fantastic bronzer for my fair skin. I am so happy that Hourglass finally gave us a bronzer that works well on our super fair skin, because to me, I feel like my skin tone kind of borders on porcelain, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, but Hourglass just has this habit of putting super warm bronzers in their palettes, and I just don't prefer that. I just don't think they look as good on me. So I really love getting something like this that has a bit of that rosier undertone, because that's going to give me more of that natural sun-kissed look. Already looking so much better and more alive. The color is definitely adding some shape to my face and some dimension. I'm not looking nearly as ghostly, thank goodness. Now, if you've been here a while, at least within the last year, you know that my obsession with the YSL powder blushes runs so deep. I have loved these since they first came out. The second they launched these, I picked up 2 shades and I absolutely diehard love them. Since then, I've picked up at least 1 more shade, and they just launched a new shade here in Canada. This is the shade 23 Hot Mauve, and I was all over it. So this is what she looks like. So very pretty. This blush, particularly in the matte formula, is just one of my favorite. It has like this super buttery suede-like feel to it, and it blends out so beautifully on the cheeks. It's just the most effortless blurring blush. I know a lot of people say powders are blurring, and that's true, but there is just something special about these that I feel like is just more blurring than any other. I think this is so pretty. And that's a beautiful blush shade. So pretty. One thing I do want to look at is the difference between Hot Mauve and Rose Haze. Now, Rose Haze is one of the first shades I tried from the YSL blushes, and it's been my absolute favorite shade. It's been my go-to blush anytime I don't know what blush I want to go for. It just goes with everything. It looks so effortless and flawless. But when I got Hot Mauve in, I really thought these look very similar. And looking at the swatches, they are quite similar. On the bottom, we have Rose Haze. On top, we have Hot Mauve. Honestly, if you have one, you do not need to purchase the other shade. They are very, very similar. So I'm a little sad about that. I kind of should have paid more attention, but I couldn't help myself. I love this formula so much. I did purchase the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray in the Matte Blur because the original Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray from Charlotte is my all-time favorite setting spray. Now I'm still testing this out with different foundations that I have. With the Charlotte Tilbury, it's just way too matte. It dries me right out and it just sucks any sort of life out of my skin. The Charlotte Tilbury foundation has dried down a little bit. It is kind of setting itself, I guess you could say, and I don't really have any glow to my skin. But when I add this, it just makes everything look so super dry. So I do kind of want to continue playing with this, but with some of my more radiant foundations, some of my more glowy options to see if maybe it kind of makes me like those a little bit more. So I don't know my thoughts on this yet. I'm going to keep testing it out with some of the others. However, I did pick up the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Liquid Blurring Balm. This is also a mattifying setting spray, and this has her Upsolite technology in it. This also has a really, really fine, lovely mister to it. So I thought this might work a little bit better. This kind of works in sort of a way that it just melts all of the powders together. So you do have to shake this really well before you spray it. And it has the finest mister known to man. It doesn't have a strong fragrance to it. It feels super refreshing on the skin. So I'm going to let that dry down. And I should have actually done this step first, but I also have one of the new Dior Backstage Glow Maximizer palettes. I have Rose Gold Glow. I've never purchased one of these palettes before. I think the original formula has been reformulated, so the original group of shades is also new, but I just thought this one looked really, really pretty. So this is Rose Gold Glow. This is a multi-use highlighter and blush palette, and you do get 4 different shades in here. I'll pop up the swatches. So in looking at these shades, this first one is really kind of gold yellow, but it can definitely work. I think it looks beautiful on the eyes, especially for the inner corner. This pinky shade really does have that sort of rose gold shift to it. It's definitely got a golden shift. It's definitely going to be a blush topper for me. This bottom shade here is actually really pretty as well. It leans much more peachy, but my favorite has been this one here, of course the most boring one. This is the only one that doesn't have any sparkle to it, but it looks beautiful. It gives you a really gorgeous ethereal glow from within type of highlight. So that's the one I'm going to go in with today, and that's this one. I just think it's so, so pretty. I have heard a couple of people say that they don't like the newly reformulated palettes. I unfortunately can't tell you if this is better or worse because I never used the original, but I can tell you I like this particular highlight. I don't think it was a worthwhile purchase for me because I love this one shade in it. I do think that is a really pretty highlight though. I think that looks super pretty on the cheeks. I can't say this is a worthwhile purchase just because I love this shade and then these 3 I'm either going to be using as blush toppers or maybe on the eyes. I think they'll look super pretty for that, but could I have skipped this? Yeah, probably. And just checking on my skin, I do think that Danessa Myricks setting spray did mattify. It did sort of help everything set down a little bit. I do think it added a blurring element to all of my face products and my powders, but I don't feel like I look overly dry and parched like I do with the Charlotte Tilbury matte setting spray. So far I'm really enjoying this. I have used this a couple of times and I've really liked it every single time. So really, really loving the Danessa Myricks. Okay, let's get into eyeshadow. So I'm going to play with the Natasha Denona Eye Sculpt Texture and Tone palette. I just want to create a quick look with the Soft palette. This is my favorite of the 2 that launched. I should have my full review of those up already. I did create 2 different looks with both palettes. And kind of in there, I did say that I think they're beautiful palettes. I love the concept. I love what she did with the concept so, so much. And just setting that eye primer, I just went in with my Alter Ego eyeshadow base. I'm just setting my eye area with some setting powder. So I'm going to go in to R2. So I'm just putting this one in the crease. Getting into the fall content, the review content, what do you want to see? I also saw that YSL has a new foundation that they launched. I think it's at Selfridges right now. I was debating on ordering that because it looks really nice, and my love affair with YSL, like I mentioned, it's pretty strong, so I was debating on ordering that too. I was thinking about the new Byredo palette. I've never tried their shadows or their products, but this one looked really pretty. Going into R3, let me know too what launches you're most excited for. I love the shades in this palette. This soft palette really is a perfect daily staple if you are a lighter skin tone. From there, I'm going to go into C2, and this one is going to go in the outer corner, not as high as I went with that pink, but just sort of breaking up the pink just a little bit. I'm keeping it closer to the lash line, and I'm kind of flicking out as well. And then I'm going to grab the brush I used for that pink, just kind of reinforce her on that outer corner. Then going into C1 with a finger. I know this is nearly identical to the one look I created in my review video, but I liked it so much and I didn't get a chance to wear it. Same thing on this side. So pretty. I really do wish that there was more shimmers in this soft palette though, because I just feel like it would have made this palette even more of a staple. I know a lot of people love mattes, and I certainly do too, but something about a good selection of shimmers that can just bring everything back. I just want to add a little bit of a shadow liner. I'm going to go into W3 just to sort of define the lash line a little bit, nothing crazy. Just nice and simple, just a little bit of definition. Okay, I'm just going to curl my lashes really quickly, and then I'll be back to get into the new mascara that we're trying it today. All right, so the lashes are curled, and we have a brand new mascara from Sigma. This is the Lash Icon. This is going to retail for $28 US, and it is launching on September 16th. They did send this to me, but this is not sponsored. It's just, I've been testing it out for a couple of days, and I have really been liking it. So this is a tubing formula. This is their Lash Icon Lengthening and Volumizing Tubing Mascara. So this has an iconic tubing technology to coat lashes in a lightweight tube to extend beyond their natural length for instantly longer looking lashes. This does have easy, gentle removal with just warm water, clump, flake, and smudge resistant, and a unique double-sided wand. The wand is really unique. It does have this one more flat end to define the lower lashes, and then this more curved end on top with longer bristles to fan out and lengthen the top lashes. This is a rubber bristle wand, which is not typically my favorite, but this one isn't too aggressive, especially because on the flatter side you do get those really short bristles, so I can get nice and close and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going in. Now this mascara, it's not the most volumizing. It gives me a little bit of volume, but what makes this special is the length. Because my lashes are in good shape right now, I have been using a lash serum that has really helped my lashes get to their longest, but this mascara really elevated everything. Can you see that difference? Look how long my lashes are on this side compared to this side. And this isn't even my good side. My lashes are shorter on this side. That is on the lower lashes as well. And it's not the wettest formula, so it's not getting everywhere and causing a huge mess. I can confirm that it doesn't flake or smudge or transfer throughout the day. It really just holds up and looks amazing all day long. And I don't find that it weighs down my lashes either. I do find that it does hold the curl. Okay, let's get into the lip combo, because this is one I've been asked about a few times, but I have one of the new Dior On Stage lipsticks. I've just been raving about this. I think I was raving about it in my recent speed reviews as well. I just love this so much. It's the longest wearing super shiny bullet lipstick formula I've ever come across. I have the shade Iconic Rose, but I've been pairing it with the Makeup by Mario lip liner in the shade Almond. So I'm going to show you what this looks like. This is just a lip combo I've had on in most of my recent videos. And I love the Makeup by Mario lip liners because I do feel like they're so long wearing. But what I've been loving about this shade is it's the perfect pinky brown, so it gives me the perfect lip contour every time. This is such a great lip liner formula. And again, I do love this shade, and I have been loving this combo, especially as we're going into fall, because it is a little bit deeper. It's neutral, but it is a little bit deeper. Going into the Dior lipstick, like look how much of this I have used already. I love this so much. It makes my lips look so full and juicy and shiny, but then also it's going to be here in 6 hours even after I've eaten. It's bananas. It has a bit of a floral fragrance to it, so just keep that in mind, but look how pretty that is. I love this lip combo so much. Okay, so let me take the hair down, I'll zoom you out, and we can get into my final recap. Alright, so here is the finished final look. For the most part, I like how everything came together. The only thing I don't like is the foundation shade. I probably could have mixed a little bit more color into this. I would consider purchasing another shade though, because I have really enjoyed this foundation. It is definitely matte. It is definitely full coverage, but it is very long wearing. It feels so much lighter than the original. It works so much better for my dry skin. It feels very comfortable, very airbrushed, very flawless, like she would suggest. And I do think it looks beautiful. I love that it's a bit of a self-setting formula, so I don't need to powder my face if I don't want to. It just looks beautiful, and it really does hold up and look flawless all day long. I don't need to touch this up at all. This is one of those foundations that is just truly incredibly long wearing. The thing I'm disappointed in at the end of the day is the shade, just because I grabbed the exact same shade I had in her original formula, and this is honestly lighter. And don't trust the foundation shade checker on her app, because it also told me one cool was going to be my shade, but it is clearly a little bit too light. So I was really frustrated by that, but I would consider purchasing another shade because I do really enjoy this particular formula. The YSL powder, I have been loving this too. This is truly very smoothing and blurring. It doesn't look heavy, but I can tell it's really locking in my makeup. I think if you have oily skin, you would really love this, because when I wear this, I feel like my makeup is not going anywhere. This is a really nice powder. I do have the shade Translucent, and I think they have quite a few shades. I love the packaging. It is very luxurious. I love the sifter on this one. Everything about this powder I've been really enjoying. I have been comparing it to some others though to get my thoughts, because I know this is super pricey. So I will do an updated powders for dry skin video, because I think that's important based on all the powders I've tried this year. But I will say this one is super nice. The Haus Labs Contour Stick. I do really like this. I love that it's matte. I love that it's also self-setting. It dries down quite quickly, much like the foundation, so I feel like you have to work kind of quickly with it. But I do think it's a really great contour shade, especially for my skin tone. It is very pigmented, so be careful. I do highly recommend picking a little bit up on a brush and then applying to the skin, because this is a little bit of a thicker formula, so I just don't feel like it's as blendable and emollient as something like the ABH Contour Stick or even the Dior. So well, this is nice. It is a little bit stiffer. It's incredibly long wearing. It's just not as easy to blend out as some of my other favorites. The YSL blush did not let me down. I love how it looks. I love the formula. I love how airbrushed and blurring this formula always looks on my cheeks. I just love this so much. The only thing I would say is that if you have Rose Haze is a little bit peachier compared to this one, but the difference is so slight that if you have that one, you do not need Hot Mauve. And I definitely could have skipped out on Hot Mauve, but we know I'm going to get a lot of use out of it because I think it's beautiful. And I just love this formula so much. The Danessa Myricks setting spray. This is a matte setting spray. It has her Upslate technology, so it's supposed to be extra blurring but also mattifying. So far I've been really loving this. She did an incredible job with the mister on this. It's so good. I think it's really nice. It's not overly fragrance. The Charlotte Tilbury has a bit of a fragrance to it. And this one mattifies and blurs without sucking all the moisture out of my skin, whereas when I use the Charlotte Tilbury matte setting spray, I do find that it is very matte, and it really does kind of take the life out of my skin a little bit. So I'm going to keep testing both of them with a variety of different foundations, but so far this is definitely the better option. The Dior Backstage Glow Palette, I think it's pretty, but I'm obviously favoring this one shade in here. I could have probably purchased the original, but I just really wanted to check out this color story, especially because it was new. I think it gives a beautiful glow and highlight to the skin, especially this shade, because it's the one that's really not glittery. It just gives that gorgeous glow from within, and I think that's so, so pretty. But did I need to purchase this? No, especially not because I'm really only obsessed with one shade. I will keep trying it though and keep using it and kind of getting a feel for the product. I unfortunately can't speak to how it compares to the old formula, but overall I do like this. I think it's really nice, but if you're only after one shade, don't purchase this. The Hourglass Dior palette, you know how much I've been loving her. I love the artwork. I love all of the shades in here. The bronzer keeps me coming back. The blushes are gorgeous. The finishing powder is also gorgeous, and I do love the highlight in here as well. The Natasha Denona Texture and Tone palette, I have been really enjoying this too. I think it's a really great mix of everyday shades, especially for my skin tone. I love that we can do softer looks, but I love that we can go a little bit more dramatic with her as well. And I think it's lovely. I do wish she had more shimmers in here, but this is also one that I guess I could, you know, create a base for a look and throw on one of my single shadows in a more shimmery formula. So that's always an option as well. But this is a very versatile, beautiful palette that I'm definitely going to get a lot of use out of, and I do think I like this one more than the Dramatic palette. The Sigma mascara, yes, 100%. This is going to be such a favorite. I would say this is nearly on par. Maybe after I've tested it for a few more weeks, it might match up to the Thrive Cosmetics tubing mascara that has always been a top favorite of mine. This is absolutely fantastic. Sigma did an incredible job with this. I love how this makes my lashes look. The Dior shiny lipsticks, I love this so much. This is got to be one of my favorite lipstick formulas of all time. I want more shades of these. I do kind of wish they had some lighter shades. I notice they don't have a lot of lighter nudes. Maybe they'll expand that later, but the shade is beautiful too. And the Makeup by Mario lip liner, I've always loved this formula, but in the shade Almond has really become a favorite as well. So overall, aside from the foundation that's too light, everything else I tried today worked so well. I think it's all so beautiful. I am really happy with how everything turned out, and overall I think it was a successful makeup day. We are seeing some really amazing new launches lately, so I am really feeling great about that too. But let me know all of your thoughts down below. Have you tried any of these? Are you eyeing any of them? Are there any that are kind of on your mind? Let me know. Let me know if there's any questions maybe I didn't quite answer. I would love to hear from you guys. I always love hearing from you guys so much. And if you're new here, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go. I do upload new videos every single week. Thank you again so very much for watching, and I will see you in my next one.